Christian Mallard, a question to both presidents. Would you agree to have the Russians join European defense system? And are you expecting the Russians really to exert tough pressures upon Iran to stop the military nuclear program?
You know, why don't I go first on this? I had a terrific meeting, a bilateral meeting during the summit with President Medvedev. I think there is a great potential to improve U.S.-Russian relations. I think that it is important for NATO allies to engage Russia and to recognize that they have legitimate interests. In some cases, we've got common interests, but we also have some core disagreements. I think that we should be in a dialogue with them about how we can maintain stability while respecting the autonomy and independence of all countries in Europe, West, East, Central, wherever they are. I was a critic of the Russian invasion of Georgia. I continue to believe that despite the extraordinary efforts of President Sarkozy to broker a ceasefire, that we have not seen a stabilization of that situation. And I think that we have to send a very clear message to Russia that we want to work with them, but that we can't go back to the old ways of doing business. I do believe that the United States and Russia, the Europeans and the United States, all have an interest in preventing Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon, and that there should be a mechanism that respects Iran's sovereignty and allows them to develop peaceful nuclear energy, but draws a clear line that we cannot have a nuclear arms race in the Middle East. I brought this up in my conversations with President Medvedev, and it will be an ongoing topic of our bilateral negotiations. We're very excited about working with France and other countries to arrive at a position with respect to Iran that invites them into responsible membership in the international community, but also makes clear that they've got to act in ways that responsible members, what's expected of them, that they meet those standards.
Simply speaking, I've always told President Medvedev that the USSR is finished, that the Berlin Wall has collapsed, and there are no satellite countries surrounding Russia. And he should respect this. At the same time, with the problems in the world today, we cannot afford to recreate a Cold War again. It's good news to hear the proposition from President Obama to engage a new dialogue with Russia and the United States. We don't need a new Cold War. We need to come together, unity, and we need that Russia to assume its responsibility, because it's a great country, it's a big country, and to find a solution to the Iranian crisis. Again, I would like to say that France and the United States are on the same line, and they're singing from the same hymn sheet. We are willing to work with anybody who is willing to work with us and to create a security space and a common economy between Russia and Europe.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you just said, you try to take a step forward this week with Russia in trying to take nuclear warheads out there and make it safer around the world. North Korea seems to be going in the other direction. Do you have a message or maybe even a warning to North Korea about what consequences they'll face if they go ahead with this missile test? And President Sarkozy, you spoke about honesty and consistency, and you're about to re-enter NATO as a military partner. I wonder what you say to the President's message about bringing troops forward, maybe military training, helping in Afghanistan?
We have made very clear to the North Koreans that their missile launch is provocative. It puts enormous strains on the six-party talks, and that they should stop the launch. The response so far from the North Koreans has been not just unhelpful, but has resorted to the sort of language that has led to North Korea's isolation in the international community for a very long time. It is not just us that has said that North Korea should not launch. Japan, Korea, Russia, China, the other members of the six-party talks have all indicated that this launch should not go forward. And so, should North Korea decide to take this action, we will work with all interested parties in the international community to take appropriate steps to let North Korea know that it can't threaten the safety and security of other countries with impunity. Now, just one last thing I want to say. I think that France has already been a stalwart ally when it comes to Afghanistan. So we discussed the possibilities of all the NATO allies re-engaging in a more effective mission in Afghanistan, which is military, diplomatic, deals with the development needs of both Pakistan and India. So it's not just a matter of more resources, it's also a matter of more effectively using the resources we have. And on this, I think, once again, France and the United States are on the same page. But I just wanted to, before Nicholas answered the question directed at him, I just wanted to publicly thank and praise France once again for its outstanding leadership when it comes to Afghanistan. I've not had to drag France kicking and screaming into Afghanistan because France recognizes that having Al-Qaeda operate safe havens that can be used to launch attacks is a threat not just to the United States but to Europe. In fact, it is probably more likely that Al-Qaeda would be able to launch a serious terrorist attack in Europe than in the United States because of proximity. And so this is not an American mission. This is a NATO mission. This is an international mission. France has always understood that, and for that, I'm very grateful.
We completely support the new American strategy in Afghanistan. And I would like to tell the French people that when New York was attacked, that can happen in any capital of a democratic country. It's not New York which was targeted, but it was democracies. Either democracies are united against the fanatics, extremists and terrorists. In that case, we will win. This is what is happening over there. Secondly, we've talked with President Obama that there will not be any military reinforcement because that decision was taken last year. Number three, we are willing to contribute reinforcement in the police, the economy, and security to train the Afghan people. We are not waging a war against Afghanistan. We are trying to help Afghanistan to rebuild. We are not supporting a side at the expense of another. We are supporting the right of the young Afghan to have a future. And on these points, it's around the negotiating table. I've listened to President Obama. He listened to my problems, and we try to find solutions. This is what took place. This is what's going to happen in the future. And I would like to say to all the French people who are happy and proud to welcome the President of the United States on our territory, that he will come back again on June the 6th. We will accord him an extraordinary welcome in Normandy, where so many young American people are buried there, and people should recover their confidence. We are conscious of the difficulties, but we know that we should provide global responses and united response. It's a great honor to work with the President of the United States, who is willing to change the world, and we hope that the world is not reduced to